Hey, welcome to the Drubbing Stone Podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Guess what today is?
It is Wednesday.
Is it? Yeah.
No, it's actually Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
We're pretending like it's Wednesday.
Well, it's always Wednesday in my heart.
It's always Wednesday on this podcast.
That's exactly it. Well, unless, of course, you're listening on a Friday.
Yeah,
and then
it's whatever day you're enjoying currently.
Exactly.
For you.
We release on Wednesdays. How about that?
There you go.
So if you're listening when this releases, today's Wednesday.
Right. Doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter what day it is.
We transcend the days, is
That's
what
right.
I'm trying to
We're
say.
on another level.
Oh, yeah.
A higher level
And
of existence.
And a deeper level, too.
Indeed.
Hey.
Hey.
Can we drink something?
Indeed.
What do you want to drink?
Man, have I got a bottle for us.
I like where this is going.
You want to call it a unicorn?
I do.
It's pretty damn near unicorny.
I will say...
Unicorny.
I will say I have seen it to purchase once.
Correct.
And the price that it was listed as was way higher than I think anything should ever be on this planet.
Sure.
That's obviously hyperbolic, but
Indeed.
It was really high.
Yeah.
I've had this before. Have you?
Nope.
I had this in Texas, and it had just released. So that was 2018, maybe 2019. I think it was 2019.
Yep.
It had just come out.
At a liquor store? Am I remember that right?
Yeah, at a it's called Specs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Total Wine. There's Total Wine in Texas too.
Okay.
But
it's a big box.
It's a big box liquor store. Yeah.
Man, surprising they had a bottle of it
Yeah.
to try.
Well, they had like in the back, they had this like whole section of open bottles, and you could get a pour. They had a menu, and they had almost every bottle that they sold in the store, like bourbon wise, that you could try. I mean,
Right.
they're not going to do regular wild turkey and things like that, like special things.
Did you get a pour or did you see like a little?
No, I got a full pour.
Cool.
It was like $15.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Super cool.
And that's why I did it, because the guy was like, hey, you want to try this? I was like, sure. How much is a pour, though?
Yeah.
And he's like, $15. I'm like,
Sure.
yeah.
Let's go.
We'll do that. All of that to say, I think we've teased it enough.
Yep.
Unless, of course, you read the title of the episode. You already know what it is.
You already know what we're doing.
What are we drinking, Kyle?
We are drinking Weller Foolproof.
A foolproof weeder.
Yep.
I like it.
That is what we are doing. Weller Foolproof, the original wheated bourbon, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Ooh.
57%. That is a 114 proof.
Wow. 7 proof points higher than the Antique 107.
Yep.
That's some quick math for you there,
There
Kyle.
you go. You
Yeah,
did it.
thank you. I added 7. Yay.
Boom.
What do you know about this? Is it the same, supposedly the same mash bill as the regular Special Reserve and, Antique 107, that kind of deal?
That would be my assumption, but I don't know that to, be 100% positive, but I would assume that that's what they're doing.
Let's be fair. I mean, nobody technically knows exactly what this is.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, as far as I know, this is foolproof. This is right out of the barrel kind of a thing. They're not weakening it to get it to those other proof points. This is just foolproof.
No water added.
Yeah. Let me read some bottle words?
Please.
Because I think we talked about this last time, and we think this paragraph does change, but here it goes.
Okay.
William LaRue Weller developed his original bourbon recipe with wheat rather than rye, bottled at the same 114 proof in which it was entered into the barrel. This non-chill filtered wheated bourbon forges chill filtration to preserve all the naturally occurring residual oils and flavors that occur during distillation and aging process, potentially making it appear cloudy at cold temperatures. This bourbon balances a rich mouthfeel with robust notes of vanilla and oak, a whiskey that satisfies the demand of the non-chill filtered whiskey enthusiasts, honoring the man who made wheated bourbon legendary.
Who's that?
William LaRue Weller.
Okay. Just checking. I got some thoughts on those.
That was Bob.
Bob. I got some thoughts on those bottle words.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about the cloudiness because it is a crisp 95 outside.
No cold temperatures around these parts.
No. So this is non-chill filtered.
Yep.
Why do they feel they have to add that? Because I mean, like, we just assume that that's the case, right?
I don't think that is the case.
With
bourbon in general, with whiskey in general.
Okay.
I don't think the non-chill filtration is a given.
Okay.
I think there's I think that's kind of where it's gone to recently, is that's like the preference.
So we don't say that thing because that's the preference.
Right.
I gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
I think originally, or there
Interesting.
was maybe like a time period where that was not the way that it was done.
Yeah.
And as whiskey's having this boom and it's growing, more people liked it to be non-chill filtered.
You know what? That's really interesting when you think about, how whiskey's marketed, how, these bottles are presented to the consumer.
Right.
Because you could have this exact bottle and then say chill filtered or whatever. Now you have a quote unquote different product.
Correct.
Well, and I bring that up because I just saw a bottle. We're friends with some people on Twitter. They just posted a bottle of the rare breed non-chill filtered, which I think you can only get outside of America. It's one of those deals.
Interesting.
Yeah, really interesting.
So rare breed is chill filtered.
I'm assuming it's one of those, like, is it advertising? I mean, yes, it is.
Well, maybe that's an American preference.
And that might be it too.
So to sell it overseas, that's the preference over there, is that it is chill filtered, so you're removing more of the contaminants and stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe.
I don't know. Well, let's get into it.
Okay.
Nice little cork pop there, Kyle. Thank you, sir. And one for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, I'm going to go out and wager that this is darker.
Even in the bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried that the blue label was edging it dark just because of the label.
I thought about that too, but I'm facing the bank of windows here in the library, and when you picked it up, I could see through it and immediately darker.
Right.
To me.
Yeah, appears darker for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. On the nose, Kyle.
Fruity AF.
Yeah. Like, not like fruit salad fruity,
Man.
but like farmer's market fruity. I don't know how to I don't know how to describe that.
Like bright fruit.
Bright fruit, right. Like fresh
and not
fruit.
Citrus.
No, like I get like, again, fruit stand. Like you kind of like walk into a fruit stand, you got a bunch of different mix of fruit, or you walk into like the produce section and like that mix, that's what it reminds me of. It's not one particular fruit, it's a mix of fruit. Yeah.
I'm going to throw out bubble gum.
Okay. I'm going to go back in.
I get like a pink, like just like that, the single piece of like the round pink generic bubble gum that you used to get all the time as a kid.
Now, what's the bubble tape? I get bubble. You get bubble tape. Okay, I can see that.
Just like that those little nuggets of chewing gum that had like the powder.
Yeah. the cornstarch.
Yeah.
Bubble yum.
Bubble yum.
You know what? And I think what that is, and I know that there's a specific like bubble gum flavor, but I think what that is like an amalgamation of a bunch of different flavors.
Right.
Like this is what bubble gum is, but it's like
it's almost like fruit punch.
Exactly. It's a bunch of different flavors. I could see that.
I'm pushing through and finding that weedy kind of thing.
You get the Honey Nut Cheerios. I get some Dusty Book.
Yeah.
And man, that proof on the nose.
Yeah.
Ooh, buddy.
Pretty great.
That makes me excited for the palate. I just get like Dusty Book and Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, like the honey note's starting to come in. I like it. I like the nose.
I like the nose too.
I feel like the nose is a plus up.
Oh yeah,
from the antique.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking back to Special Reserve. I'm thinking back to antique, and I mean the nose is to me the best part of those, like because they're both thin and they just kind of let you down. And I know we talked about that in the episode, but this nose takes that even further.
Yep.
All right, diving in.
Going in.
Weller full proof.
Proof pop.
Whoa. Hello, proof. Hold up. Got me some of that Kentucky hug.
I feel like a definite plus up in the mouthfeel.
No joke. Like that is
like it's clingy.
That is clingy. That is I dare say that is oily.
Yeah.
That's almost thick. Like the mouthfeel. Wow.
Which makes a ton of sense.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're not watering it down. You're keeping that viscosity like at a maximum point. And man, that just holds on to your tongue.
Woo. Woo. Yeah, it does. That makes the bitter just that much more pronounced. Because I mean, even after having a sip, and I'm just kind of sitting here with it for a second, I still get the bitter on the back end of my palate.
Right.
You get those really nice honey notes, and it's floral. It's like orange blossom honey, like really bright honey.
Yeah, totally.
On the tip and then the middle of the palate.
Yep.
But as soon as it hits the back of your palate, like it's even like, you got to almost like clear your throat.
You kind of have to like get it off the back of your throat just to be able to talk.
Because it's got a little, I mean, that bitter's really nice.
Right. Which I think was what was missing out of the antique. It didn't have a bitter. It was just a nice, smooth one-note ride. good note, but just a 1-note ride.
Right. But when you push that proof and you're at 107, like I expect even more of the antique than the special reserve. And I don't feel like there's that big of a difference. But this, like I'm even thinking back to the antique 107, which we had not that long ago. So it's still pretty fresh in my memory. And man, like it's singing the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. That bitter that comes through at the end, it's not a strong bitter. It's just a nice subtle like wisp as you finish off. But that wisp stays with you for the whole finish.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty nice finish. But it never gets to the point of being like a dominant flavor. It just kind of stays right there.
I really appreciate that because you get the really beautiful sweet at the beginning, and then you get this lingering bitter, but it's not like it's not such a punch in the throat bitter that you don't like it. You like it because it offsets that sweet that's already there.
And even like I'm on my like fourth or fifth sip at this point, there's still that absolute spike of the proof.
Oh yeah,
hitting.
Yeah,
and then you come back down to that subtle bitter. And then you just ride that all the way to the end.
Yep. I get a lot of
delightful.
I get a lot of really nice oaky notes too.
Yeah.
Like way more than I did on the palate.
Right.
Like
you mean on the nose?
Thank you. Way more than I did on the nose. Like it's really nice. And I think some of that bitter is the oaky nature.
Right.
But man, especially like the corners of my tongue, like the sides, that's where
you got corners.
I got tongue corners, right?
Yeah, square your tongue.
Yeah, the sides of my tongue. That's where I get a lot of the oaky nature there, and it is delightful.
Yeah, like there's just nothing about this that is unfriendly.
No, dare I say I've finally found a Weller that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
This is delightful.
Yeah, this is every bit of delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Every note that you get is like, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep. It's that nice roller coaster that we're always looking for.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like the proof, it is 114, but it's not challenging. It does give you that like proof pop in the beginning like we both experienced, but it doesn't become overwhelming. You know it's still there, but it's not like something that you're battling with at all.
Which is pretty interesting. I mean, even all the way up to 114, it's not a battle situation. Like it never gets to that point of
too much.
Yeah, I might need to back off. Like going back into the nose now, I feel like it's not quite a cherry. Maybe a strawberry. It's like something a little bit not quite that sweet of like a cherry.
Yeah.
Just like a maybe a strawberry note.
Yeah, but that bubblegum nature, that like super like overly fruity nature that we get on the nose, gone.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah, I don't get
I
that
agree.
anymore.
There's some sort of fruit there. I'm not sure what it is, but like that, like
I don't know. If I swirl it and go back in, I'm like, yeah, no, I still kind of get
you
that
still get
bubble gum.
bubblegum.
I can still find it.
I mean, I can find it on the nose. I can't find it on the palate.
Oh yeah.
Did you just hit yourself in the face with your glass?
No, that was my teeth.
Oh, okay.
No, I guess I never got it on the palate, but I can still find it on the nose.
Man, that is impressive.
Yeah.
Like
I get it.
If this is the Weller that you gave me all the time, like good on you, Buffalo Trace. Like this is great.
Yeah.
That special reserve ain't worth it.
Yeah. No. That one's just a chasing for the label.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm not saying this is worth what I've seen it in secondary, but this is more worth it than 107, more worth it than special reserve.
Oh man, that's a tough one. If you're paying secondary prices, I don't know that I could ever pull the trigger on that.
I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying like there's there's more justification to me. Like if you were to say, hey, I've got special reserve 107 and Weller Full Proof, they're all secondary markup. Here you go. And like you wanted to buy, like you knew you were going to buy one, go with the Full Proof. Like that is the
time
better
that
buy.
you bought it.
Yeah.
What did you see it for? Or no, the time that you saw it, what was the price on it?
700. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it was ridiculous.
The time that I saw it, I think it was $250, maybe $300.
Okay.
I saw it in Georgia one time.
Okay. Yeah. No, this was 7. I was like, and y'all cute.
I still wouldn't pay that for
No,
it.
I'm not saying I would.
Definitely wouldn't pay no $700 for it. That's insane.
No.
But even $250, $300, I still don't think I could pull the trigger on that, even as good as it is.
No, I'm not saying it's worth it. I'm just saying like so if you found this at retail, Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
I get it at retail.
yeah, that deserves, like, at retail, that would deserve a place on my shelf.
Absolutely.
All right, Kyle. Now that we've got, honestly, a great drink.
It's pretty tasty.
Yeah, it really is. And, like, can I be honest with you for, like, super second?
Yep.
I didn't want it to be.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because we're probably not going to get a bottle again for a long time.
I mean, fair enough. But at the same time, I don't know.
You're part of a program. It's possible.
It's possible, but it's not even that. It's, I'm glad to have found something in that lineup that's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Worth the hype.
For sure.
You know?
And this, to me, worth the hype.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's fantastic. So I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's not just something that is another one of those things that, like, everybody's chasing after it. Everybody wants it, but, like, when you finally get it, it's like, oh.
No, that totally is. Yeah.
It's worth the hunt.
Absolutely.
If you can
really
find
is.
it and get a
Perfect,
good value
perfect.
on it,
Yep.
that's worth the hunt.
Absolutely.
So that's worth being on that list of I've got to try that.
Yep.
If I can find a bottle of that, I got to get it.
Yeah. I mean, I would go so far as to say, retail, this should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 50, maybe $60. I would say you could probably push it 75, 80 to me, and, like, still way be worth it.
I'd go 100.
You would? Okay.
I'd spend 100 on that.
Yeah. I can see
good.
that.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I agree.
I've definitely had bottles that were $100 that weren't that good.
I've had bottles with you that weren't that good for $100. We both spent.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'd spend 100 on that gladly if I ever found it, because, again, that's still gonna be way under what you're gonna find it for at secondary.
Oh yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
that's still a bargain.
For sure.
For
sure.
And I think that's a fair price for something that's really good like that.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I can agree to that. Yeah.
I mean, we've had 3 of, like, the 5 in the Weller lineup now. Still, I'd like to try the single barrel.
Yeah, absolutely. The CYPB.
The CYPB, I'm kind of like,
I'd try it.
oh yeah, I'd definitely try it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know that that's on my, like, I don't know. If I found it for a price, like, absolutely,
Right.
I'd pull the trigger on it. But I'm a little less curious about that one.
Okay.
But single barrel,
Yeah.
I would be now.
Yeah.
Where we were,
Yeah.
I'd be kind of like, I don't know if that's worth the price.
Yeah. Now
But
I'm
I'd
interested
be intrigued now.
because I think the single barrel is also high proof too, right?
I don't know.
I
I'm
know
not
you.
sure.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, we could internet it, but y'all can too if you want to.
Indeed.
So, Kyle, I'm not sure if you're aware.
Okay.
We are in the swamp ass season.
I'm aware.
Summer has
2 steps out the front door, and I'm aware.
2?
Yeah.
I get one
As
toe.
soon as you open the door.
Yeah, I was gonna say. You know that scene in Terminator 2 where Linda Hamilton is holding the fence as a nuclear bomb goes in the background. That's what happens every time I open my front door.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah, it really is.
That's what we have to deal with here.
For sure. So we're in the height of summer, which means we're in the height of movie season as a whole.
Right.
This week, I'm bringing up a topic, Kyle. This is our segue.
Sure.
A movie that I'm excited for this summer. Summer is blockbuster movie season.
Correct.
And it's kind of been a little bit rough the last couple of years just because of, films that were delayed because of COVID and films that were delayed filming because of COVID.
Right.
So this is the first year in the last several where we have, like, I think, a great summer blockbuster lineup.
It's definitely shaping up that way.
Yeah.
At the point that we're recording this, Doctor Strange has already come out. We've already been to the multiverse and back. We've got Top Gun.
Yeah.
They've been holding on to that one for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's great things to be seen there because I think that's why they've been holding on to it. I think they've known how good it is to be able to actually be able to see that in a theater. Because I think they were trying, I think they were studios pushing, let's go ahead and throw it out on, this streaming service or that streaming service. And they were like, no, hold on to it. It's great. We've got Buzz Lightyear coming out.
Right.
Or just Lightyear.
Lightyear, right.
Chris Evans, voicing Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Taika Waititi's in that.
Yep.
And then I think, one of the most anticipated that we've just got a couple of trailers here recently is going to be Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes. I'm super stoked for this. I am honestly excited.
Yeah.
I am more excited for this than I have been for almost anything Marvel since Endgame. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I don't know. I think my hype level for Spider-Man was.
I know you were way into Spider-Man, and to be fair, I loved Spider-Man. It was so good. I didn't see it 17 times like you did, but I loved it.
Sure,
and I would absolutely see it again.
Yeah,
but I you know me, I ebb and flow in terms of Marvel fatigue and
totally
in and out. And
well, why Thor: Love and Thunder? Why is that one tickling your giggly bits.
See, I giggled.
Yeah, I heard it.
I like Thor as a character. I really love his character arc.
Sure.
From like the super kind of serious thing that we had in Thor, the disappointment of Dark World, which is a way better movie than
Hot take.
going back.
Not hot take.
Not hot take at all.
I'm in the vast minority of that one. Of like, I actually enjoy that movie.
Yeah, I mean, go back and watch it. Like, it's not as bad as I remember it being when I saw it. Then you have Ragnarok. To me, the breath of fresh air that the MCU needed. Now, part and parcel, because like a lot of MCU movies are funny anyway. Like that's what they're known for. Quippy kind of witticisms, things like that. But then you put a director like Taika Waititi into this.
Yep.
Who is known for this specific brand of humor and just pushes that all the way forward. And it's great. And I love Taika Waititi as an actor, as a director, as a writer as a whole. And this just makes me excited for the possibilities of the MCU.
Right.
Because you have a big name who's willing to push boundaries with a character that can be, to some degree, easily made fun of.
Right.
And I love it that they're leaning into it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me excited for it.
I mean, I think it's interesting. Like when I think back pre-MCU, before these movies were what they are, and before these characters were what they are, like to me, in my growing up of where Spider-Man and X-Men were your biggest properties coming out of Marvel.
Right.
When I looked at the Avengers and I looked at this goofy character of Thor
with the wing,
with the wings
yeah.
on his hat, and like I understood that like, this is the character from Norse mythology, but like just the depiction that they had of him, my interpretation was just kind of like, ugh.
Right.
Like I'm so uninterested in that character.
Yeah.
So when the MCU started and they started introducing these characters and that first Thor came out, like I think that one for me, and I think for a lot of people, was the most surprising of, wow, y'all really did something with that goofy character.
Absolutely.
Like y'all really made a cool thing.
Yep.
Like that one, I think, out of that core initial group, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, which honestly, at the time for me, they were all kind of these B-list characters.
Absolutely.
I knew who they were, but like I really wasn't that interested in seeing movies about them.
Right.
Thor was the one that came out initially that was like, whoa, they're really doing something interesting with this stuff.
And I agree, because Thor was the first one for me where I was like, oh, this is what you're doing? Not prior to seeing it.
Right.
Of like, yeah, I don't care, like this, not that he's a throwaway character, but like this character that I don't really care about.
Right.
And then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, you guys have something here.
And if I'm totally honest, like I remember I went and saw Iron Man when it came out. I did not go see Thor.
No, me
in
neither.
theaters.
Me neither.
It was not a must-see thing. I'm not even sure if I saw Captain America in theaters, if I'm honest.
I saw Captain America in theaters. I do remember that. I did not see Thor, for sure.
And even after all that, I wasn't convinced that the movie The Avengers could possibly work.
Right.
I just didn't think that there was any way that they could take these main characters from these other movies and mash them into a movie that worked, because we hadn't seen it yet. We hadn't
Correct.
seen something like that work.
Right.
So that they're finally doing cool things with these characters that were completely sidelined.
Right.
In terms of comic books and comic book fans at that point in time.
Originally,
in general.
right. Yeah.
Just comic book fans in general. And it was always like a shock that like you're deciding to build this whole thing around these guys? Like, okay. Good luck with that. But then the Avengers come out and it crushes.
Right.
And you're seeing the relationship between these guys, and they made it work, and it was like phenomenal.
Yep.
And you're finally looking at Thor like, oh, cool.
You're going to be some dude.
Yeah, like this is a fantastic character that I can actually get behind, which was just such a shock to my system coming from where I was at. But I'll ask you this. Like, I think it's interesting at this point in the MCU, 13 years into it, wherever we're at, I still kind of feel like Thor has gotten not sidelined, but I think when you think of like the big ones, you've got Iron Man and Captain America at the forefront.
Sure.
And you might even go like some other characters. You might even go like Doctor Strange or somewhere else before you get to Thor.
I don't disagree.
For whatever reason. I don't know
think,
if that's legit, but that's just kind of the way that I get out of it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say this. And maybe it's because like this character, his character arc is still like we don't have a conclusion of that character.
Right.
Like we have a conclusion of Iron Man. We have a
Sure.
conclusion of Captain America.
And maybe that's it.
So for us, like, there's no almost like nostalgia because that character has lived on,
Right.
if you will. So like, but to me, that's the most interesting part where now I'm like almost gravitating toward this character because, okay, what are you guys going to do? Like you've killed off some people. You've removed some people from this. I mean, and now how is this person who is a god, how are they going to continue on? Because of course, Thor is going to live longer than most of these other characters because regardless of how mutant or bionic or whatever they are, they're still human. They are going to live out a life and they will die, whereas Thor has been alive for how many thousands of years?
Right.
And will continue to be, kind of thing.
Right.
At least we assume. And that's because, like, and I think we've talked about this in a previous episode, like, he knows he's a god, but only because his race of people is far more advanced and the longevity, that kind of thing. That's how they've explained it away in some ways.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see in this movie because, like, you know, there is this character that is hunting the gods. You know, how they kind of look at themselves. And I think it's an interesting, you know, thing that Marvel's getting more into is the concept of gods and an afterlife and that sort of thing. So
yeah, well, we talked about this with our WandaVision episode. Well, I mean, way back when.
Right.
Like, where are they going with the more spiritual kind of aspects too?
Right.
And they've dealt with this in Loki. They dealt with this in Multiverse of Madness. Like, where are we starting to bring
Moon
this?
Knight.
Yeah, a ton in Moon Knight. Like, where are we bringing this in?
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see, like, you know, where do they fall on that? Because I don't think Thor has ever looked at himself as a god. He's just kind of understood it as we are as guardians, and where we're from, this is how people live. We live in this length of time.
I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a couple of lines in the earlier movies of like puny human, like that kind of perception. I don't know if he says
Puny
like
god.
Puny god. Okay. I don't know if he says like those kinds of things specifically, but there's like this I am above you because of all the things that he's done.
Well, and I think that is how they look at themselves compared to humans.
Right.
I just don't know if he himself looked at himself
I see.
as this higher being. Like, yeah, no, I live way longer than you because you only live 100 years.
Right.
Maximum.
Max.
You know, we live thousands of years. Like, I can understand why you would look at us that way.
Right.
But do I look at myself? Like, I think he looks at maybe Odin.
Right. Whereas Loki clearly looks at himself as like the god of mischief, because how many times does he say that?
Sure.
Whereas, yeah, you might be right there.
You know, I'm just kind of wondering how they kind of depict it. In which, in this instance, in this movie, they go to Mount Olympus.
Right.
And they see the Greek, the gods.
Right.
And
Zeus,
all of that stuff.
Zeus.
So,
yeah.
hopefully Hercules.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. So what I thought would be fun to do is we watch this trailer real quick and we comment on the trailer, because like this is a film that is going to be released in a couple of weeks.
Right.
And clearly we're both excited about it.
Yep.
So and I know that there are other people excited about it. So why don't we watch the most recent release trailer,
Right.
which for us came out, I don't know, a day ago? Because obviously,
Yesterday, I think. Like last night, maybe.
Yeah, we record these a couple of weeks in advance, depending on when we record. So for us, it was May 23rd is when it came out, I think.
Yeah, we're talking about the official trailer number 1.
Right. Not the teaser.
Teasers come out. Teaser was good.
Teaser's really fun.
This is the official trailer where you're starting to get some story beats.
Right. So I figure we should watch the trailer, even though we've seen it, 4 times at this point.
Yep. Okay.
So everybody, pause Drepping Stone for a second. Go watch the trailer. You can find it on the YouTubes. It's about 2.5 minutes long. And then we'll be here when you get back. And we're back. We did it. Dude.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Like that. First of all, you start with a character that I absolutely love. Korg. Like, I love
Yeah.
that character.
Yeah.
Okay, kids, let me tell you the story about the Space Viking.
Like Taika
so
Waititi,
good.
if you didn't see, it's not a documentary, but like one of the special features in the Thor Ragnarok, when you pull that up either on Disney Plus or wherever you're watching it.
Right.
There's one where it's talking about, it's like basically like just kind of doing an introduction for Taika Waititi.
Sure.
And he starts it off by saying, "My name is Taika," spelled just like tiger, or however he says it in his accent, Taika.
Yeah.
But instead of this letter, you move this letter, you put that one there, and then you take this letter out completely, and then you replace it with this completely other different letter, and it's spelled just the same way. And like
Which
me,
is
me, and my,
very-
me and my kids laugh about that all the time.
Which is very Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, his comedy is so just spot on and just like so like, I don't know what the right word is. Just unusual.
New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. But like, I mean,
this
he's
is
just,
comedy from like an island.
well, he's just got a quip for everything.
Right.
And it's so dry. Everything is delivered so dry.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
In like the best way.
yeah, like no, it's spelled just like tiger, but you
Except
take this
it's
letter,
not.
take it out, put this letter in, and then remove this one, slide it over.
Right.
So good.
So you begin with Korg, and then you have like these notes of Sweet Child of Mine kind of beginning.
Yeah, which in the teaser,
Yeah.
they rock it hard.
Yeah, they
And it's
really
like-
jump into it.
Yeah, I mean they push "Sweet Child of Mine" clearly like just like they pushed "Immigrant Song" in Ragnarok.
Exactly.
Like that's going to be the anthem for this movie. It seems
sure.
like.
Yeah, and from what I can tell, you're on what's his face's planet, or at least I think that's who Korg is telling the story to.
What looks like, from what I've heard, you're on Yondu's planet,
Right.
Where Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy is from.
Right, and there's clearly a lot of overlap between Guardians and Thor: Love and Thunder, or Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor.
Yeah,
because like
perhaps they're starting this off as Thor going with the Guardians to that planet to
Correct.
like let them know of Yondu's
demise.
demise and well the great things that he did,
Right.
You know, the honor that the glory that he achieved.
Because ultimately they can do as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And so is that where they're going to head? Because that's been teased a little bit too.
Right.
Especially with, the matchups that they've already had. So the relationship between Thor and the Guardians is already established there. So it's interesting that they're continuing that further.
Yep.
The trailer as a whole has a very, very clear 80s vibe throughout the entire thing.
Correct.
Some dude mowing his lawn next door, Kyle. You hear that?
I don't know what to tell you, man.
That's okay.
We haven't quite soundproofed the live bar yet.
I mean, we've done a good enough job.
Yeah, we
Who
got it.
knows if you can actually hear this or not?
Yep.
It happens.
Yeah. Is what it is.
It happens on big budget podcasts. Happens on bigger budget podcasts like Drepping Stone.
Right. Is what it is.
Is what it is. It has a very clear 80s vibe.
Yeah, which is cool because, like, I mean, they're clearly referencing. I think it's called the Mighty Thor. Which
Yeah.
is like this run in the 80s where he's got like a very punk kind of feel to it.
Right. Well, and I think like the Natalie Portman character, by the way, Natalie Portman's back.
Yeah,
And
she ripped.
absolutely ripped. Like I wonder, like, is that legit ripped? Because I saw Black Swan where she doesn't look ripped at all.
Well, ballerina has a different physique than
A
than
god,
Thor.
sure.
Yeah.
But so I think she's that like Mighty Thor character, or at least maybe she's in that timeline. Is that how that works? I don't really know.
I'm not sure. So there's an 80s run of Thor where he's got like this sleeveless jacket and this very 80s. I think maybe even has like either a mullet or a mohawk or something. And I think that's what they're referencing for Chris Hemsworth.
Oh,
Where
okay.
Natalie's Thor, that one, I mean, I'm not sure on the terminology, if it's the ultimate Thor, the mightiest Thor,
It
the
says-
strongest Thor.
What I found is that she's called Mighty Thor.
Okay, so maybe she is the mightiest Thor, and then the one for Chris Hemsworth, it's a different 80s Thor. But yeah, but I think her storyline, that one of Jane Foster becoming Thor, was
Right.
actually like early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
Maybe,
Yeah, I think like this
19 or 2010-ish.
like the
era.
story is something like Jane Foster is like dying of cancer
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, and somehow she then becomes Thor. Like
Right.
I don't know like how that works. I'm assuming the film's going to touch on that because like, hey, you're back.
I've heard that they are following that storyline.
Okay. I'm super pumped that she's back because
Totally.
like that's something that character you definitely miss, especially because of how much they push that character in the first Thor. Like she is a lot of what the driving factor of that movie is.
Yeah. I mean, I always thought it was funny that like they gave her such a, they gave Natalie Portman the curtain call in Endgame.
Right.
Just like they gave all the other big actors.
Absolutely.
Even though she didn't do anything for Endgame, they just used old footage from Dark World.
Right.
But they still gave her that curtain call. I always thought that was like, interesting. I wonder if y'all are trying to butter her up to bring her back. And then sure enough,
The answer is
oh yeah, we're
yes.
bringing her back.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So what I read is that like she really wanted nothing to do with it.
yeah, she was done with the MCU just in total.
Which is super interesting because like payday, like Come on, Natalie.
Yeah, no.
Like, why would you
Guaranteed.
not want to do this? Yeah, it's a guaranteed payday.
Yeah.
But I think like what I read is that she had a sit down with Waititi, and he was like, "Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what's gonna happen, because you're not just the girlfriend sidekick kind of thing. Like, you are a character." And I don't know if that was her trepidation from reprising that Jane role, but like what I read is like when he presented that, Waititi presented that, Kevin Feige presented that, she was like, "Let's do it. I'm on. Let's go right now."
Yeah. Well, and it seems to me like the MCU is finally achieved a place that is people don't have to worry about being typecast anymore, and it's almost like because I think so many people have shown like you can do the MCU and you can go over here and do this thing, and we don't look at typecasting the same way like we used to.
Right.
Where 20 years ago, if you're Batman,
Exactly.
that's all I can see you as is Batman.
Correct.
And I think there was a fear of that early on in the MCU.
Oh, for sure.
I think there was a lot of people that signed on originally that were like, "Oh crap, I don't want to get typecast like this." But
But they haven't. Like, I mean, Chris Evans has gone on to do a lot of things.
Sure.
Chris Hemsworth has gone on to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. has explored other things.
And luckily-
they all have.
the MCU also too has done such a good job of bringing in such big actors to come in and do smaller roles.
Exactly.
Like getting Kate Blanchett to come in and do
Hella. Exactly.
like you're getting fucking Russell Crowe to come in and be Zeus and probably gonna get killed in this movie. Like
Kinda
you're
hope
getting Christian
so.
Bale to come in and be a guy. Like,
Exactly.
they've
Gore,
done
the
such
God Butcher.
They've done such a great job of getting these big actors to come in to do these roles that it adds clout to. It's
Yeah.
okay to go do an MCU movie. It's not going to typecast you like it used to would.
Right. So back to the trailer. Kind of, Korg is telling the story of what's happened to Thor.
Right.
And he says, like, the space Viking had a dad bod and then decided, like, nah, I hate this.
Went and got in shape.
Went and got in shape.
God bad.
Which was he say?
He went from dad bod to God bod.
God bod. And like the shot of Thor holding like the big ass chains and like doing the
anchor
battle
chains
rope. Yeah, with
on
like
the cruise ship.
Yeah, exactly. Doing battle rope kind of like CrossFit anchor chain, like so cool.
Right.
Like just because like yeah, I could totally see him doing that. And like it's so funny because knowing Chris Hemsworth as a guy who like loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yeah, why don't you just give me some of those green ropes and you can put it in chains later and I'll just do the
Even
thing.
still, it looks too easy.
Yeah.
Like the way he's doing it, he doesn't really look like he's working.
I've done battle ropes. I don't look like that, Kyle. Like 30 seconds of that, I'm like, oh God. And those aren't anchor chains.
Yeah, no.
I mean, in my mind they are.
Yeah, I do
now.
a yarn.
Twine, like
Hard.
thread. You got some like little thread.
I already went yarn. We didn't need to go less than yarn.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to diminish your muscles over there, buddy.
I might could do it with like regular rope. Maybe.
Mike could.
Maybe.
Anyway, I read this thing where they basically, Taika Waititi wanted to bring back Jane Foster for this version of Thor simply because of what it would do to the character.
Right. Which
Which to me, I absolutely love. And you can see it on his face when in the trailer, he's like reaching out for Mjolnir. He's reaching out for Mjolnir and he like almost
His
grabs
hammer.
it. Right.
He's reaching
right,
out for
yeah.
the hammer.
Correct.
The one that broke.
Exactly. Because he's already got
Stormbreaker.
Right. He clearly has Stormbreaker still. I was gonna say Starkiller. You saw that?
I heard it.
Yeah, you heard Starkiller.
I like how you did that.
Yeah.
Starkiller. Yeah.
I forgot. So he's got Starkiller base, and he's already got that, but he reaches out
Star
for
Destroyer.
he reaches out for Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
He reaches out for the hammer.
The hammer.
There.
The broken hammer. Yeah.
He reaches out for the hammer, and then like the hammer goes back to Jane, and he's like, oh, Jane?
Yeah, no, I love that recognition on his face of Mjolnir.
Yeah. Gone.
And he reaches out. It was fantastic.
Which to me plays into the dopey nature of his character. And I love that.
Yeah.
Because you are kind of playing into a stereotype of like ripped dude who's kind of dopey.
Bit of a beefcake.
Yeah, exactly. And like clearly that's who this character is, but he's not just that. For Waititi saying like bringing back Jane is totally going to screw with his character. I love that because that's how you continue these characters that you've seen for the last 29, this is the 29th film, Kyle.
Right.
The last 29 films that you've seen, like, you want to see these people develop. You don't want to see the same Thor from the Dark World. You don't want to see the same Thor in Avengers.
Right.
Like, this character has seen some things at this point. He's lost people at this point. Like, how does that impact him seeing this girlfriend character that, you know, they're so specific with the last time he saw her, 8 years, 3 months, or whatever it is.
Right. There's a great line in the trailer of Jane Foster says something referencing that was her first bad guy, and he says, "Oh yeah, you never forget your first." Obviously talking about her.
Exactly.
Like his first love.
Exactly.
That was really, really well done.
So then you bring in this character, Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah.
Who
fucking Batman.
DC crossover.
The Batman.
Right. Like epitome Batman.
Not Robert Pattinson Batman.
Oh.
Batman.
You just diminished Robert Pattinson Batman.
I did. Intentionally.
We just did a whole episode where we were like, that's great.
I'm pretty sure Christian Bale's a superior Batman.
Yeah. I think we both did, actually. Yeah.
Just saying.
So you've got Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, which is just a phenomenal name.
Yeah.
Like the God Butcher.
What a character.
Yeah. Which I don't know a whole lot of background on, but I know the premise is he is a character that is specifically going out to murder these characters that the humans feel are gods.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily anything specific to the humans and how they view people. But the way I understand it, it's he on his planet, he prayed to the gods to save his planet or save his family.
Right.
And his prayers went unanswered.
Correct.
So he then made it his mission to remove the gods, to take out the gods. So he's going around murdering gods.
That sounds scary.
Yeah. Which
I mean, the character looks scary.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody was like really worried about how he was going to look because you look at the character in the comics and he's got a really slick look. Like he looks really cool. He's got this weapon, the Necro Sword, that is cool, and he looks cool, and he's like this really cool thing. And how are they going to do it? Because it's Christian Bale. You don't hire Christian Bale and do a CG character kind of a thing.
Right.
Like, you're going to want to see him in the performance. And he looks pretty terrifying.
Yeah, he really does.
And like, to me, that's what I'm honestly most excited about. Because if you look at Christian Bale, the actor,
right,
he was Batman. And in probably the biggest, what most people would consider the best Batman movie ever made.
Absolutely.
He was completely outshone by the villain.
Yeah.
There was a much better performance
Correct.
in that movie by the villain of the movie. That movie should have been called The Joker.
Absolutely.
And it would have made more sense. But now he's getting his chance to come in
as the villain,
a heroic franchise in the MCU and play a villain. And so, like, I would imagine he's going to be all in at the opportunity to see what a villain can come in and do to a story. And this is his opportunity to do that.
So let me ask you this. With that in mind, is this a character that they're going to bring in for one movie and one and done? Or is this a character that they're going to try and continue on further than just this one?
I mean, knowing the MCU and how the MCU works, they won't kill him off.
Right.
Or they'll make it ambiguous.
He'll be banished like Red Skull or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
or Hela. You know, I mean, like Hela,
like,
she took a thing, but like nothing else killed her. Why would I expect that to have killed her?
Correct.
I think it'll be that kind of a situation of like something will happen that will remove him from the storyline and we'll think that it's done, but there's always the opportunity.
We can bring it back. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, we still have the multiverse.
He's crazy popular.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
multiverse,
we
we'll
still
grab
got
another one from another universe.
Yeah, we can pull him in whenever we want.
Yeah.
For sure. What I really like, kind of going back to the trailer, is you also bring in more of the Norse mythology. And it's in such a simple way that, like, unless you know a lot of Norse mythology, you wouldn't expect. But that's with the goats that are pulling Thor's ship. And they're such a seemingly like kind of like throwaway character, but their names are Tangrisnir and Tanjost.
Sure.
You're welcome.
You say so.
I do. And even though my Norse and or Icelandic accent is not great, these are the two goats that pull Thor's chariot. In this case, it's a boat. But it's so cool that like they're still implementing those aspects of the character. This character that's been around for hundreds of years, like in our understanding, this Norse god, and that they're still playing with these ideas. And I love that. Like, that's so cool that they never had to put that in there. They don't have to, but they are. They
Well,
could just
I mean, and
we have a flying boat. But in this case, no, we've got a flying boat pulled by 2 goats.
I mean, they're from the comics.
Absolutely.
They're popular character, or not popular characters, but like it's how they pay attention to detail of pulling in things that are from the comics,
Precisely,
and mythology,
and that's my point.
and bringing it all together.
Like you're not just doing MCU comics. You're doing like you're paying homage and respect to these old stories, and you're bringing that to a new audience as well.
Right.
And not that, most of those people, and I don't know how prominent they feature, because in the Norse mythology, basically like Thor kind of resurrects these goats, and then it becomes weird, man. Like he'll eat the goats and then like resurrect the goats again. It gets weird. The point is like you're paying homage to that, and I find that really cool.
Well, and my assumption too would be that. Well, no, never mind. I'll take that back. I was going to say
I ain't got no assumptions.
Well, no, as I think they have the power of the Bifrost,
right?
But he's got Stormbreaker, which has the power of the Bifrost. So
Starkiller base.
Yeah.
So then you kind of end the trailer after they've like said, Thor: Love and Thunder. They've given you the release date, which is July
7th.
Then you have almost a slight like post credit scene to the trailer, and it's with Zeus, who's Russell Crowe, which I like Russell Crowe.
I do too. I mean, he can be an asshole.
Yeah,
he's made some mistakes, but at the same time, dude's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, and I think like my version of Russell Crowe is Gladiator. Like that's just, I don't know. I really love that movie.
Cinderella Man.
Oh, Cinderella Man's great too.
Jesus.
But Jesus?
Was he? No, he's Moses.
Yeah, he wasn't Jesus.
No, I would just say Jesus. That's a great movie.
Oh yeah, it really is. Cinderella
Man.
It's so good.
That's like in my top 10.
It's a really good film.
Yeah.
So you've got Russell Crowe who plays Zeus, which, like you said earlier, I don't think it's
Noah. He wasn't Moses. He was Noah. Sorry.
Oh yeah, he was Noah. Same thing.
Yeah, right.
Moses, Noah, same thing. The There's a boat.
From the same book.
Ish. So you've got Russell Crowe who plays Zeus, which I don't think things are going to end well for him. But you have this like little like let's see who you are kind of, and he does this like wind poof, and it rips Chris Hemsworth's
flick.
Yeah, flick.
As he said.
It rips Chris Hemsworth's clothes off and like
everything.
Yeah.
Down to the buck.
Yeah. Dude's nude.
Yeah.
And he looks phenomenal. Like, let's be honest. Woo! Yeah. And like I love how what they do, and I love that they're doing it here because you've always like thought, or a lot of people like, what does it look like under that cape there? But now like you kind of get a little bit of it, and like the women around Zeus just like faint, and Korg's like, huh.
Whoa. Yeah.
Huh. And both Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson, and Valkyrie, and Mighty Thor or Jane Foster, they're both like, all right.
Should we help? In a minute.
Yeah. Grape.
Want a grape?
It's so good. It's like that to me is part of the humor of this. That little like nod to like, that's what he looks like underneath all of that. Like, I think it's so funny. Like, that is the play. And you just kind of like lean into it. Yeah. Like, I love how they like pixelate it out, because it also kind of like gives you that like, do they not pixelate it out in the real movie?
In the movie? Like, probably not seen in the movie.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's
I don't know.
One.
You're right. It's probably not a scene, but it's also like they're clearly like you're people who have no affiliation with MCU. Like, are we gonna see like Chris Hemsworth's butt? Like, I'll see his butt cheek.
I'll go say it now.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. There's a certain percentage of society that will go see it just because those beefcake butt cheeks are in there.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the beefcake butt cheeks.
I'm curious
how those look. Better than mine, I can tell you that.
Like perfectly formed watermelons.
Watermelons.
He must work out.
Those are some big butt cheeks.
Whoa, you see the buns on that one? He must work out. Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. So all of that to say, Kyle, I am super excited again for Love and Thunder. This is a Marvel movie that I want to go opening night, especially because it's in the summer and I'm not doing anything on a Thursday anyway. So, or a Friday morning for that matter. I want to go opening night. Can we go? Can we go?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
we haven't been to a movie in a minute.
No, we haven't. Not together, for sure.
Not together. Yeah. Where I'm really interested is to see, like, again, because I feel like through the first 10 years, like, you know, if I think back to the iconic moments for Thor.
Yep.
Thor was kind of a side character in Avengers. He was kind of a side character in Age of Ultron.
Sure.
He wasn't in Civil War.
He disappeared for a minute.
But then they gave him Ragnarok.
Right.
And he shined like a motherfucker in Ragnarok.
Correct. That is how you say that.
Really brightly. He was like Ragnarok with Immigrant Song and Hulk.
Yeah.
That was such a great film.
The Grand Master.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
He's not in the trailer, but Jeff Goldblum is back.
No shit.
Yeah.
You saw that in that article?
I did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm excited. Just because I love Jeff Goldblum.
So, and then I think he had his best moment for me. I don't know. The end of Ragnarok where he's coming down and Immigrant Song turns on and he's coming into that crowd and like lightning everywhere is hard to beat. But I will say, in the theater, in Infinity War, when after Stormbreaker is made,
right,
and they're in Wakanda and they're getting their asses kicked, and boom, not the Rainbow Road,
Bifrost?
The Bifrost. The Bifrost comes down.
Rainbow Road.
Well, that's what it's called.
But I just like Rainbow Road.
That's what it's called.
Go ahead.
That's what it's called in the first Thor. It's the Rainbow Road.
I know.
All right, so the Bifrost like just crashes down in the middle of it. Thor walks out, and then Bruce Banner's in the Iron, the Hulkbuster, and the thing flips up. It's like, oh,
shit's
y'all done
real.
screwed up. You better get your asses kicked. and Thor like starts running and like jumps up in the air in the fucking lightning. That's his moment, dude. And, like, that's like the best shot of him in this whole thing.
Right. But again, I think it's because of that character arc. When you get that, and you're like, yes.
Well, and the conversation that he has with Rocket,
right,
in the spaceship of like, you realize everything he's lost. Like,
exactly.
My father, my brother, my
girl,
yeah. Like, I've lost everything.
Yeah,
everything's lost to me, and I still keep on. But then, like, he has the opportunity to take out Thanos, and he didn't hit the head.
Yeah,
he hit him in the chest. And then in Endgame, he goes through the whole dad bod and like the fat Thor and all that stuff. So he has a bit of a redemption in Endgame where he's right there with Tony and Steve fighting Thanos. But I still feel like even in that scene, in that battle, the glory goes to Iron Man.
Oh, for sure it does.
When Captain America gets Mjolnir.
For sure it does.
So even in that moment, he's a little bit outshone by those guys. And I don't know if that was intentional because they're like, we've got more for you.
I think it is, yeah.
I mean, I feel like Chris Hemsworth is bought in, and he's never wavered.
No,
there was never Robert Downey Jr. had the moments where he was like, I'm done with this.
Sure.
Same thing with Chris Evans. Like, he had those moments of I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Chris Hemsworth we've never heard that from him. He's just been in it the whole time. I think he's good to do it till he's like 80.
Yeah.
Like he'll be old Thor at some point in time.
Right.
So I think there are like greater, better things to come for Thor. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Where he is the star of the thing.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you've positioned this particular character really, like, because of the series, the Disney Plus series, and because of like this first iteration of the fourth phase, you've kind of positioned Thor to be that character that a lot of things hinge upon, much like Cap and much like Iron Man. So you've kind of done that through Loki. You've done that a little bit through what you've seen in kind of WandaVision, setting some things up for this multiverse aspect. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, do they ultimately make the culmination of Thor this new phase of Marvel 2?
Yeah, because, I mean, at this point, he is the linchpin.
Right.
He's the...
Exactly.
I mean, obviously, Hulk is still there. Bruce Banner's still there.
Sure.
And
you
he's
got the
popped
Guardians,
up a few times.
right.
But in terms of like those classic heroes, it's just Thor and Hulk,
right?
So to see how will he connect to this next,
right,
version of the MCU?
And that's just it. Like, these are the only really the two that you have left of the original gang, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, so
Hawkeye's retired,
right?
Black Widow's dead. Tony's dead. Steven. We don't really know what he is.
Old.
So, but then you got Hulk and Thor.
Sure.
That's your 6.
I can't wait.
Last question.
Yeah.
Does Loki show up?
Absolutely. I think you have to, at the very least.
What version of Loki?
I don't know. I think
maybe that's the better question.
I think at the very least,
which version of Loki shows up?
You have to do something, because like you've set it up. I mean, it's a Thor movie. How can you not have at least some version of Loki mentioned, some version of Loki like pop up?
I don't mean mentioned.
You mean like
does Tom Hiddleston show up?
I think he does. Yeah, I think he does.
In some way.
I don't know how, but I think he does.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree that because I don't know how you don't.
They haven't, and honestly, like they haven't teased that at all through the teaser or this new trailer in terms of when we're recording. So like, I think you do.
I think you have to.
I think you have to.
But at the same time, the only thing that like makes me think otherwise is that what we got from the Loki series was only half of what was supposed to have come out.
Correct.
So that other half of that series, would that have explained how that Loki got to this movie or something?
Maybe, but I feel like you could put him in this movie, and then when the latter half of Loki comes out, you could explain how that happened, and you could do it that way.
I just blew my mind apart. Like if the version that's in the Loki series is originally from Earth 616. Oh, you don't even understand that. Never mind. Basically, if he's from that version where he is connected to this Thor,
sure,
but his version of Loki that existed died. So, anyway, forget it.
Well,
that just hurts.
On that note, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
I see that you have poured another glass.
Yeah, I mean it's only appropriate. I feel like we've discovered how great this bottle is.
The foolproof.
The Weller foolproof.
Right.
Let's throw it against the 107. It's a lower proof.
Oh, you still got some of the 107 left?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely, I mean
that begs it. We have to.
Well, you have
we
to
have to do it for the pod.
And two, like I feel like, certain bottles you if you open it and it's not like I'm drinking this right now to the last drop. Save it just in terms of like, well, let me save it later because I might discover something new.
Sure.
And that's why I've hung on to it.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's pair it.
Back to the foolproof real quick. I mean, just honestly, like it is phenomenal. Like, it almost slightly pains me to say it, just because like it's a Weller and we've downed Weller, but it's so good.
It's just another one of those things to me of understanding what it can be.
Oh, for sure.
Sure. And the balance of finding the right proof, just all those things.
On the nose.
I'm starting to get more and more cherry.
I don't get that at all. I still just get bubblegum.
Fair enough.
Bubblegum and proof. To me now, it's not like super strong bubblegum, and I think it's because of like having the palate, but it's still there. All right, the nose on the 107, similar, but it's like just less pronounced.
Well, I lose all the fruit in the bubble gum.
That's gone. But like Dusty Book is still there.
It's just dusty wheat.
Yeah,
a little bit of cereal.
It's like a stale box of Honey Nut Cheerios.
I wouldn't go stale. I wouldn't go stale.
I'm going stale.
But I would say like Honey Nut Cheerios.
It's like a box of Honey Nut Cheerios left in a haunted house.
Bullshit. You just like dogging it.
You're right. I do. No, it's that bright, weedy, like Honey Nut Cheerio note for sure.
Yeah, I just lose that sweet fruit. Other than that, I think it's like the same nose.
All right, I'm going to go palette 107 first. You're doing it different?
I just did it.
Okay.
done it.
Man, the 107, the sweet just like really punches through. And it's watery. It's so thin to me. And that's not me like trying to dog it. Honestly, it's a thin whiskey. But the notes are similar. You still get some of the slight oaky nature. You get the sweet that's on the tip of the palate. You get the oak that's on the sides. You get the slight bitter. But it's just with the 114, I'm going to go back to it. But the 114, the bitter is just way more pronounced. And it's thick.
To me, the 107 is way more honey forward on the sweetness.
Right.
You don't get any kind of a different sweet note. It's just the honey. And then you get the wheat.
The complexity drops off.
The subtlest whisper of the oak and the bitter.
Yeah, it's like the complexity falls off a lot with the 107.
But I don't feel like I've ever even gotten bitter at all out of it. So I feel like the 114 is like showing me it's there.
Right.
You just have to push all that honey sweetness out of the way.
Perfect.
It's way buried back in there. Where the 114 brings it and elevates it.
Perfect.
And lets it shine through.
I agree with all of that right there. Well said. I will say like the big separator for me, proof points aside, it's the mouthfeel. The mouthfeel is what just like elevates the 114 way beyond the 107. Because again, the 114 is just thin. The 107, it's clingy, it's oily, it's thick, it's viscous in all the right ways.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it honestly, like, I think it makes the 107 a little better.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I have a very clear favorite here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no
The foolproof.
There's no revealing the favorite.
Yeah, well, we revealed it when we titled the episode.
Yeah.
The foolproof. But I think you're right. Like, going from the foolproof to the 107 is really interesting in that it makes the 107 better.
Yeah.
For sure it does.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how it does kind of show you those things that they're in there. Whereas by itself, that sweet on the palate is so pronounced.
Yeah.
That's just the one note you get when it's on its own. It's pretty interesting.
I agree.
Delightful.
You got anything else on the Weller?
No.
You got anything else on Love and Thunder?
No.
I mean, I do. I'm excited. I said that before, but I'm going to say it one more time. I'm excited.
Yeah. No, I mean, any opportunity to further extend the MCU, especially at this point, who knows when we're going to get the next Avengers?
Correct.
You know, the next crossover.
Right.
To me, having seen the Multiverse of Madness, I don't think that one extended it as in the way that I was thinking it was going to.
Correct.
Definitely like gave you some stuff to think about.
Sure, but didn't push it as far as you wanted.
Didn't provide a direction of where we're going.
Right.
Kind of a thing. I feel like Love and Thunder could do that. Even if it doesn't, it's given us more Thor.
Correct.
Which connects us all the way back to the beginning of the MCU. So in that alone, it's broadening that whole MCU timeline.
And I think, again, that's why I'm excited. Like, not only are you taking me back to one of the original kind of big three characters,
right,
but you're also like trying to, I think, tie some of this initial phase together.
Right. And I think, you know, in no way is this like the end of Thor.
No,
you know,
no.
Like this is just another step along the way. So like in that essence, like I'm excited to see where we're going with the character.
Yeah, I agree. So we're still a couple of weeks away from the actual release of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Right.
But we want to know, what do you think about the trailer? If there's been another trailer released since we've recorded, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
And if you happen to be listening to this after the movies come out, what do you think about the movie? Because I'm sure we got thoughts too.
Absolutely.
And if you've had a chance to sample the Weller Foolproof, tell me it's not the best Weller you've had.
Yeah.
Like, let's
tell
be
me
honest.
your thoughts on that, because whew, that's worth the hunt. That's the best thing I can say, man.
Absolutely.
That's worth it.
Well, you can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. You can find us just about anywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Find a thing, like a thing, share a thing. We would appreciate all of that stuff. And we can't wait to get back in contact with you.
Absolutely. Do us a quick favor while you're at it, while you're on the Insta Twitters, while you're on the social internet, as it were. The face talks, sure. Do us a favor. Just tweet out or face out or do whatever you need to do. Hey, have you guys listened to the new Strep and Stone episode? No? What's wrong with you? Go listen to it right now. That's honestly such a good way to help out the podcast.
Indeedly doodly.
Now you're from The Simpsons?
It's Disney Plus. It's all connected. They're all under the same umbrella.
And if you want to financially support the podcast, you can do so through our Buy Me a Coffee page. It's buymeacoffee.com/DrepandStone. And you can rate Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And Thor's ass always show.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy. Can't argue that one.
Nope. That's the duty-free price?
Ooh.
Damn.
Whoa. Damn.
Put that mic close to your face. Can you please try it?
I'll take it more. Sure. The text feed only holds pictures for so long. Now we can't say that.
No.
Wendy's breakfast baconator might be the greatest breakfast sandwich of all time.
Motherfucking baconator for breakfast.
Yeah. We're getting that Wendy's money. I
I need it just for the.
Kids, get the popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking.
Oh, spoke too soon.
Mulan.
Not Mulan. What?
The Huns.
Oh. Let's get down to business.
There we go. Make a man out of you.
I've got a PB.
All right. Go PB.
Okay. Side note, are you taking a Glencairn with you? 114 is so much better.
When will this come out?
The episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know why we didn't think of this.
I don't know.
A year ago, at least.
Now you're Macho Man? Man, look at you with the pop culture
I was
references.
not a macho man.
That was close.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now you're the Kool-Aid Man.
No. That's macho man. I don't know what Kool-Aid man.
Oh, yeah.
Little less.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Full macho man. Full Slim Jim. Macho man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah.
Rest in peace.
Much love. Thoughts and prayers.
You beat me to it. That's not fair.
I'll give it to you, dude. Cognitively, we both hit, but you were reaching. You had to come back to it.
I was trying to go something. I was like, gotta beat him. Oh, God. Yeah. Are you saying my ass doesn't look like Thor's ass?
No, you. It's probably the same thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.